So I'm thinking about human population and overpopulation. I mean, humans just keep on breeding like crazy, producing loads of offspring. Myself, I have two children, and I imagine they'll grow up and have children of their own. We just keep on breeding and we keep on expanding, and it's surely only a matter of time before we overpopulate the earth. There can't be enough resources to keep us going that regenerate enough food or enough oxygen. We bound to overpopulate the earth in due course. I don't know when that might happen, but I don't see how it can be avoided because we're getting better at keeping ourselves alive as well. So we're breeding, keeping ourselves alive more, living for longer, consuming so many resources. It's hard to understand how it can be sustained. So it seems like it's only a matter of time before we overpopulate the earth. And I think there are 8 billion people on Earth. I'm not sure exactly, but 8 billion, 7 billion doesn't matter. We into the billions. It's just inconceivable. It's just impossible to understand that many people all living and breathing and consuming stuff. So it really is hard to see a future that can possibly work because our population just keeps on expanding. We keep on making babies, and there can only be so many resources. I know there are lots of clever people managing things, but I think of how things are in Britain, for example, and we have things fantastic in this country compared with Botswana or Ghana or Namibia or all of these places. To live in those places compared to how we live here is just terrible to contemplate. And if in my medical condition, if I was in Guyana or somewhere, then I'd be suffering so awfully. And what makes me think is that the fact that I have it better here compared with how it will be in 100 years, I'd have it a lot better. And people would be looking at how I'm living now and think I'm having an awful time compared to how it could be. I mean, in 100 years, it's so hard to imagine how life would be and how people in 100 years would look on us the way we look on people 100 years ago. So the way we look on people in 1919 and the lives they have, we think the lives they have is fairly awful and they have barely anything compared to how we have it now. So in 100 years, they'll think the same of us, that we have almost nothing compared to what they have then. So, I've been thinking what could change that they would have in 100 years that we don't have now. And it is not something I've been able to do. I don't know what would be so different. But I suppose off the top of my head, I suppose I'm thinking of the things that we find difficult now that would be made easier. So, like driving, for example, I imagine that would be a lot different in 100 years. Maybe we could just have automatically driving cars, or maybe we wouldn't have cars at all. We would just think and transport ourselves somehow. Um, and cleaning the house, for example, we could probably have automatic cleaning of some sort, either robots or the self-cleaning floors, self-cleaning ovens, whatever. Just that manual labour will be reduced. We wouldn't have to mop floors or whatever, they'd mop themselves. We wouldn't have to do shopping, the cupboards would just automatically create the food or go and fetch the food and bring it to the house. Or maybe something else would happen and we'd create food ourselves in our houses. That's conceivable, I suppose. That we'd have fridges that manufacture food. Somehow it gets resources. I do wonder how the Earth can possibly support the growing human population. I mean, we just keep on making babies, and there's more and more of us. And I think, as I said before, I think there are 8 billion of us at the moment. And 8 billion people obviously make more people more as time goes on. So as the population grows, then the rate of population expansion grows as well. So we got 8 billion now, then we'll have 10 billion, then 20 billion, whatever. Billions is just inconceivable anyway. But we're all eating, drinking, and breathing, and sleeping. How can there be enough room? How can there be enough resources? It seems that inevitably will come to an end of some kind. I don't know how soon that will happen, but at some point we're bound to breed ourselves into oblivion. It just seems impossible that we can sustain this because our medicine is getting better and we keep on breeding, and there's only so much space on Earth, so much land. There's only so much food and air and water. It all just seems crazy. And I keep thinking about countries other than England and Britain and the countries in Europe and whatever. The lives that some people have are truly awful. And because we keep reading and growing, the situation will just get worse. So a lot of people have really difficult lives, and that situation will get worse. I don't see or understand how we can just manage our growth. It just seems impossible. There are billions of us creating billions of children. It would be interesting to know how many children are born every day. There's probably some statistic out there. Off the top of my head, I'm guessing that there's probably 1 million people born a day. And that's probably at least. I really don't know how I'm working this out. I'm just saying stuff. But there could be as much as 1 million people born a day. Maybe a lot more. Maybe a lot less, I'm not sure. But I'm imagining that it would be a lot more than 1 million people a day being born. Someone somewhere must have worked this out. I just can't be bothered to try and look for it at the moment. But that's not true. It's not that I can't be bothered, but my internet is down at the moment for some reason. So I'm not able to find out. But I'm going with 1 million a day. It's just scary to imagine that population growth. And it's even scarier to think that it's probably a big underestimate as well. Very strange stuff.